during this time of high school, and some of you are going off into college, it's a roller coaster really, of emotions, experiences, expectations. How do you deal with all of it? I know at that age, I didn't know how to deal with all of it. So today you'll get an understanding of what the true essence of yoga is, what it really means, and how it can be used as a tool to enhance the very fundamental chemistry of your life. So what is yoga? When I say yoga, what do you think yoga means? Everybody has some idea of what yoga could be or should be. You might think that, okay, something like this is yoga. Or maybe even something like this is yoga. But would you think something like this could be yoga? Or what about this? Could this be yoga? I know that I didn't know what it was. Most people think that yoga means standing on your head or getting into a pretzel or something like that. And being normal means standing on your feet. Yoga, it's not about doing anything in particular. It's just a way of being. Regardless of whatever it is that you're doing, it's just a certain state in which a person can be. And this is yoga. First, let's look at what that might mean to you right now. Like many people express about being stressful, which lots of people are. You ask your friends at school, they're stressed. You ask your parents, they're both stressed. You ask the people that are organizing the TEDx, they're for sure stressed. You ask the president of the country, Trump is stressed. You just ask the guy in the street, he's also stressed. So what job is there to do in the world? Is there any job that can be done joyfully in the world? It seems like there's none because everybody is saying their job is stressful. There's no job in the world which is stressful. You're stressed simply because you don't know how to manage your systems. That's why stress is happening. Stress isn't because of any particular situation. You're stressed because you don't know how to manage your body. You don't know how to manage the mind. You don't know how to manage the emotions. And you don't know how to manage your energies. That's why stress is happening. So let's look at the mechanics behind stress. For every fluctuation on the level of the mind, there is a corresponding chemical reaction that happens in the body. Always. It just works like this. When there's tension on the level of the mind, if you go through a day of tension, tomorrow you'll see that the body, it becomes stiff and painful. Have you noticed this? If you do yoga, or if you're a dancer, or a gymnast or something like this, you can very clearly and easily notice this. You go through a lot of tension, a day of tension, tomorrow you'll see the body refuses to bend. It refuses to bend because the muscles have become rigid with acidic impurities inside the cells. So this acidic impurity just goes on building up. These deep-rooted thoughts become either chemical blocks or chemical deposits in the system, which can ultimately become a disease over a period of time. The word disease means just that. Dis-ease. The body and the mind are not getting the right kind of rest or ease that they need. Today, medical science is telling you that most or many of the chronic ailments are psychosomatic in nature. That means the cause of the disease is mostly in the mind. When there's agitation on the level of the mind, similar agitated reactions are happening in your body. There's a certain fundamental defense system in our body, in our physiology, which is known as the fight or flight response. Have you heard of this? See, in ancient times, when man lived in nature, the situations he faced in life, they were quite simple. Or at least the response that was demanded out of him was simple. Let's say he's walking through the forest, and then he came across a wild animal, a lion, a tiger, or a bear, or something like that. The choice about what to do was quite simple. There were only two choices. Either he can fight the animal, or he can just run away from the animal. He only had two choices. But today you live in a world where neither of these are possible. Let's say you go to your class. You go into class and your teacher just yells at you for some reason. Neither can you yell back at your teacher, nor can you just run away from the classroom. Neither fight or flight are possible. Whenever the mind senses any sort of emergency situation, it in turn activates the necessary system in the body to release an emergency quota of sugar into your bloodstream. When there's tension on the level of your mind, the body, it's being prepared for intense physical activity. If you did go through this physical activity, this extra sugar in the blood will be worked out. But today, we live in a world in a constant stream of stressful situations where no physical activity is really needed. And this just ultimately makes the whole system drive itself faster than its natural pace. It's like your car. If you're regularly driving your car at 50 miles per hour, let's say the engine life is 100,000 miles. That same car, now you drive it regularly 100 miles per hour. More stress. The engine life will be considerably reduced. So don't ever think or say that your job is stressful. You experiencing life in a stressful way, it means that you've lost control over your systems. Your interiority is not happening the way that you want it to happen. If you had the choice, would you choose stress? No, isn't it? Then how do you expect to live well? People have some hope. You all are successful enough to understand that unless you do the right things, it just doesn't work. Or do you think that you can just simply do some silly things, tell a prayer, and everything will be okay? No, isn't it? You know that in the outside world, unless you do the right things, it just doesn't work. Then what makes you think it's not true for the inside also? Unless you do the right things here also, it just doesn't work. We can just do a simple experiment, you know? You can, what you can do is you can just keep all your fingers together. And you can just sit with your legs uncrossed and palms facing downwards on your thighs. You can do this now. Just keep all your fingers, palms facing downwards. And what we'll do is, we'll just do a few inhalations and exhalations. You don't have to do it just yet. You'll take a few inhalations and exhalations. Deep inhalations and exhalations. You'll be doing this for some time. After some time, I'll say switch. When I say switch, just flip your palms over, upwards, and continue breathing. Then I'll say switch again. Then just get your palms back into the original position. In these two positions of the palms, the way the air fills up into your lungs, it will be different. The maximum expansion and contraction will be in different areas of the lungs. I just want you to notice this. So you can sit with your eyes closed, palms facing downwards on your thighs, and just take a few inhalations and exhalations. Deep inhalations and exhalations. You can do it now. Switch. Keep your palms upwards. Switch again. And slowly open your eyes. Were you able to notice some difference? So when the palms are facing downwards, where is the expansion and contraction happening? Where is it?
Inner side.
And when the palms are facing upwards, where is it?
Outer.
So when the palms are facing downwards, the maximum expansion and contraction will be happening in the lower part of the lungs, towards the diaphragm. When the palms are facing upwards, it will be happening in the upper part of the lungs, in the chest. Did you notice this? If you weren't able to notice it, try it again one more time. Just keep your palms down, close your eyes, take a few inhalations and exhalations, and then flip them over and see. You can try it again now. Just check and see. You can turn them over and see. You can open your eyes. Were you able to notice any difference between these two? So just by keeping your palms in a certain way, the very way that you breathe is changing. And it's not just about the breath. The very way your life energies are functioning in the body, they're altering themselves just by keeping your palms in a certain way. So how many times a day in your unawareness are you doing things like this? You know, for whatever somebody asks. Now you're setting your energies into a turmoil. You're expecting to be peaceful. It just doesn't work like that. Unless you do the right things, it just won't work. So right now, what we're talking about is creating the right kind of inner situation. The right kind of inner situation can be understood in many different ways. For example, let's say you lost your peace today. If you lose your peace today, what all will happen? One thing is you'll go home, and whoever's at home, it doesn't matter, your brother, sister, mom, or dad, whoever's there, you might yell at them. You already do this when you lose your peace. If it continues, tomorrow when you come to school, even if it's your best friend, you'll get mad and you might even yell at them. If this continues, you'll go into class and you might actually yell at your teacher. See, when you yell at your brother or sister, or got mad at them, that, people might think that's okay, that's normal. But the moment you yell at your teacher, everybody knows you need medical help, you're crazy. So what do? They'll take you to the doctor. What does the doctor do? The doctor will give you some medicine, right? So you'll take this pill. What's inside this pill? A little bit of chemicals. So you put this little bit of chemicals into you, and suddenly you become peaceful. Maybe not forever, for a short duration. But you do become peaceful, isn't it? That's why people are popping pills, because it works. Maybe in a very limited way, not in the best way, but it works. So, in other words, what we're calling as peace is just a certain kind of chemistry. What you're calling as joy is another kind of chemistry. Ecstasy, another kind of chemistry. Agony, another kind of chemistry. Anxiety, another kind of chemistry. Fear, anger, stress, it's a different chemical basis to every human emotion. So right now, we're talking about creating a certain kind of chemistry within you, a certain technology with which we can create a certain chemistry within us. We're feeling peaceful and joyful. It's just natural for you. This is not something that you have to go on pursuing in your life to be joyful. It's very natural for a person to feel peaceful and joyful within themselves. Are you interested? See, when you do proper yoga, classical yoga, there are many benefits that you can derive from it. It can improve your memory and concentration by almost 100% in just a few weeks of practice. Your sleep quota, you'll see, will come down. In chronic ailments like asthma, diabetes, hypertension, these things can all be relieved. This sounds like a tall promise. How can doing yoga, just doing it properly, how can it give me all of these benefits? First, let's look at memory and concentration. There's much misunderstanding about memory and concentration. Everything that we perceive through our 5 sense organs, every sound, smell, taste, touch, and visualization, everything gets recorded in our minds. Now, memory means just pulling out the right data at the right time. That just depends on how well organized your data library is. See, right now your memory might be like this. You're walking down the hallway, and you run into an old friend of yours, somebody that you knew, let's say from elementary school, the first grade, the second grade. You sat next to them or something in class. You remember so many things about them. You'll remember, what hobbies they liked. You'll remember where they sat, even where they lived. You might remember so many things, but there's one thing that you just can't remember. What is it? Their name. You're talking to them, and you're trying hard to recollect, but it doesn't come to you. So you end the conversation, and you go home, and there you're sitting, just chilling in a relaxed manner, and then suddenly it comes to you. Oh, that was a genie. That's not good memory. See, it's like this, if you want to go to a library and find a book, when you go in, there's 1,000 books, or 10,000 books on the floor in a big heap. If you want to find your book there, how long will it take you to find the book? You might never find the book. But let's say you go to a well-cataloged library. There, how long will it take you to find the book? You can find it very quickly. It's just that if the mind has lost its calm and is in a disarray, whatever it records, it's very difficult to recollect. But when the mind is calm, alert, and well-rested, whatever it records can be very easily recollected. And the same is true with concentration. You've seen how hard it is to concentrate on your textbooks. The more you try to concentrate, the more the mind tends to go elsewhere. But instead, let's say you're reading your favorite book, whether if it's Sports Illustrated or Harry Potter or whatever, you're reading your favorite book. When you're reading Harry Potter, are you trying hard to concentrate? Or are you reading in a relaxed manner? You're relaxed, isn't it? But if you had to take a test on Harry Potter, you think you would fail that test? Definitely not. That's the one you'll pass, with flying colors. It's just that you might not be interested in some of the different things that you're doing. But if you're naturally involved in whatever it is that you're doing, you'll also naturally just concentrate well. But doing proper yoga, it's not just about curing your headache or backache or improving your memory or concentration or any of these things. These are just side benefits. These things will anyway happen when you do proper yoga, classical yoga. These are just the side benefits. Then what's the fundamental objective of yoga? Like we looked at earlier, it's just a state of being, a way in which a person can be. See, in the world, there's many organizations that teach yoga. Many of these organizations, they've used a certain flower. They've kept a certain flower as their symbol or their logo. Do you know what flower they use? Have you heard of a lotus flower? They use whatever the organization may be. Many times a lotus flower is always a part of that. Do you know where a lotus flower grows? It grows in a pond, but in mud. In the slushiest part of the pond. That is where the root of the flower is. But it makes use of this, and it grows and blooms into a beautiful and wonderful flower. If you can live like a lotus, this is yoga. See, when you live in the world, oftentimes you can't avoid the slush. The garbage, the nonsense that, happens in everyday life. You just can't avoid it. It's just there. If you don't like it, you'll have to just run away, go live in a cave or something. But as long as you live here, it's just unavoidable. It's just part of everyday life. So you can either just deal with it, or you could make use of it and use it to transform yourself. See, whatever may be your external situation, if you can maintain an inner balance without any suffering, this is yoga. Thank you for your time today.